So we're off to Africa today for a movie review, and this film is notable for two reasons, really. First, it started off the 3D film craze in American film industry. This was the first feature-length film to do a full 3D shooting, and there's actually you can see pictures of the audience watching this film in particular with the 3D glasses on in the theater. But it's also based on the true story of the Savo man-eaters incident in the late 1800s in Africa, where these workers were laying the first railway line through Africa. And there was these two killer lions who were kind of attacking and killing the workers and the villagers and halting up the work, slowing down the progress. And it was probably more familiar to modern day cinema goers with The Ghost in the Darkness, starring Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer, which is a really good film. And that captured the kind of eeriness and the fear of the community really brilliantly. And this film is actually set in the same story. It stars Robert Stack, you might recall from Airplane, among other things, and Barbara Britton, who I'm not really familiar with, and the great Nigel Bruce is in here, and he's terrific. He really steals the show here. He's got a wonderful, superlative kind of handlebar moustache, and he's terrific in this one. This is only a few years after he finished the Universal Sherlock Holmes series, and he's still really great, on great form in this film.
And in Loch Lomond is a fish called the squidump. Oh, gentlemen, there's he.
So Robert Stack is the engineer in charge of this mammoth undertaking, this laying of the first railway through Africa. And he's helped by Dr. Angus MacLean, played by the great Nigel Bruce here. And all their work comes to a complete standstill when these two man-eating tigers start to basically munch on the workers and the local villagers around. So the whole work comes to a standstill, basically. Now, Robert Stack's character, he's kind of gone to Africa because he's feels a failure in front of his father-in-law, who's very kind of demanding, and his wife, played by Barbara Britton here. So he's kind of run away to Africa, as far away from them as he can, and that's why he's basically there. And his heart's not really in the whole operation. Nigel Bruce is this kind of wise old doctor treating malaria or whatever symptoms come along in the operation. So Robert Stack kind of mans up and tries to go into the bush himself and hunt these lions himself, these man-eaters, because he kind of feels this kind of a burden of failure, and so he goes after them himself. But he's hopeless as a hunter. He's completely hopeless. He's crossing this river in a boat, and these hippopotamus come towards him, and he shoots some of them, and the recoil of the rifle knocks him into the water, and he loses his rifle for starters. But there's other incidences as well. There's an incident when him and Nigel Bruce are on the railway track with the workers ahead of them, and the lion comes out of nowhere and kills one of these workers. And he's only about 50 yards up the track from Robert Stack, and he still doesn't get a shot off. He is monumentally useless as a tracker and a hunter. There's even one incident where he's hiding in a hide with another native African and trying to hunt this man-eater. And he comes from nowhere and actually attacks, kills the man beside him. And Robert Stack doesn't have a clue what's happened. He's like, "What's happened to you?" He has put a lamp on to see. And how can you not notice a lion roaring past your ear and killing the guy beside you? I know, it's a bit bizarre. So Robert Stack then gives up and tries himself, and he goes to these Maasai warriors who are supposed to be fearsome hunters, and they look the part, and they go and they kind of technically do everything right. They close in a circle, and they close in on this lion, and basically they've got their spears and they're closing in, and the lion's getting trapped. And I don't know where this second man-eater comes, and it's like a male and a female lion, and he just wipes them out, which is quite funny in a way, because they all kind of run off in different directions. These fearsome warriors become little kittens in a matter of seconds and take off with the sighting of this second lion. And they run up the hill towards Nigel Bruce and Robert Stack, and they're all holding their heads and everything. And it's really funny. Nigel Bruce kind of just goes, "It's a massacre." It's a man in a Scottish accent. It's really, really funny.
It was a massacre.
So the Maasai warriors were no use after all. They were kind of paper warriors in the end. So they have to look out for another solution. So then Nigel Bruce goes back and gets these three professional hunters to come and hunt these lions, fearsome lions. And they're really funny, the three actors who play these hunters. And there's some really great dialogue exchanges in this film. And the characters really make it a worthwhile journey. I mean, it is cheesy in large extents. And you do get quite a bit of lion action, I have to say. You could argue it's quite comical at times because it's quite obvious they're just wrestling and cuddling the lions. But I can imagine back in the day when this came out in 1952, I think, that it would have been quite intense with the 3D imagery and everything of seeing all these lions attacking. And you don't get much blood or anything like that, obviously, but it is quite entertaining all the same. And the characters are really, really great in this film, I thought. Nigel Bruce is terrific. He really does. He looks apart with a handlebar moustache. He's like this wise old sage doctor, and he's got all the best lines and steals all the scenes when he's on camera. So yeah, the cast are great in this film. I can't fault the cast. So basically, to cut a long story short, and there is a couple of spoilers here. So if you want to kind of skip forward a few seconds. Basically, there's an attack by the lions, and poor Nigel Bruce gets killed, and so do all the hunters in a really comical scene where they all get killed in this railway carriage where they're all sleeping with no doors on it. It's just a curtain. And I mean, there are too many in tigers roaring and roaming around at night. And all the villagers have got fire burning around the camp to keep them away. And they're sleeping with no door, and it made no sense. Anyway, it's a pity that Nigel Bruce had to go so with like a third of the movie left, because he was really a big part of this film. I enjoyed every second he was on screen. But anyway, we left Robert Stack, and he has to go into the bush to hunt these killer lions on his own and kind of re-find his kind of manliness, I guess, and not be a failure in his own eyes and in the eyes of not only his father-in-law, but his wife, Barbara Britton, who comes latterly into the film, the last sort of 25 minutes. She comes to Africa with the hunters. So he's kind of trying to prove himself to her also. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. I thought a barrel of laughs. It was a really great watch. It looks great also. This gets absolutely terrible scores on all the platforms, IMDb, Letterboxd, and Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know why. I thought it was a really great little watch. It's, like only a 70-something minute film, a kind of B movie, dressed up B movie, really. But yeah, it just looks gorgeous, this film. And I thought Robert Stack, as a leading man, he was no real Robert Redford or Clint Eastwood. Didn't have a lot of charisma. But he was perfectly fine. He delivered the kind of intensity at times, and the kind of also the kind of the frailty of his character also. But yeah, great. Him and Nigel Bruce are great in this film, and it's just a terrific little watch. I really enjoyed this film from start to finish. But this is a pretty good, entertaining little kind of African adventure. So yeah, give it a watch if you're into that kind of thing. And Nigel Bruce is all terrific to watch. Just love him in this film. He's great. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.